Welcome to the Law, Your Money, and You. I'm Roberta Saphire, an attorney in Sharon, Massachusetts,
And I'm Camille Barron, a financial coordinator and health coordinator, also in Massachusetts.
That's great.
Yes, it
yeah,
is.
and it's great that we're here. And this guest is going to be so exciting for what's out there today, financial literacy.
Oh, yes, it's such an important topic. It's one that we've had as our
yeah,
number
look.
one priority for years and
Yeah,
years.
look, we started the first financial literacy live at the library panel back in 2011.
That's right.
And we're doing our book. But first, let us introduce Arlene Verde. She comes from Beverly, Massachusetts, and she is so lovely, and she wants to bring financial literacy to not just single women, but girls and students and everything. Arlene, start off. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me, and I'm so proud and honored to be here. So my name is Arlene, and I'd love to teach children and adults and single parents alike about money, and just to get to the root of the psychology behind money and why it's so emotional and personal, but to get a handle on your money, just psychologically and in the real way. So if we dismantle it, it doesn't have to be so scary. And we can really change lives and change the world and keep families together ultimately, because money is a big factor in life.
What do you do now?
I've been working for Social Security for 18 years now.
Okay.
And so it's really, part and parcel of everything. Social Security plays a major role in helping people live their lives a lot better than they would if this program wasn't around. And I just have seen in my own personal life that as a woman, that how important it is to understand money and get a handle on your finances. So I would love to teach. Where you'll see the change is teaching our children about money. And I think children, boys and girls, see money in a different way. And then we see it play out in our families and how they spend their money, how they think about their money, and when families break up and how things play out with relevant to money and with men today or fathers, and how they sort of get under the radar when divorce happens, and women primarily become the primary caretakers and also hold the financial burdens of taking care of their families. So I love to just educate and teach children about these things.
And not long ago we had another guest on who talked about women being less prepared financially for retirement as men. And a lot of it has to do with maybe they were raising children for a while and they were out of the workforce. But I think that this topic spans all generations.
For sure.
And the root is planted in the young years. It could be teenage or even sometimes younger than teenage. Once they have that foundation, they can be prepared to make the right decisions going through the rest of their lives.
Well, yeah, and I think it starts with Walt Disney and how romanticized, money can be, or relationships, and how a man is going to take care of you. And we all buy into that a little bit, whether we know it or not. It's woven into the fabric of society and women and in relationships too. And I think that's where women get in trouble, when you put too much of your hopes and dreams and money in the care of a man or one person, without taking care of harnessing your own self-worth yourself. And I think that's where we get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're touching on many, 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 many different topics, and you can take this and have a whole course on that. And a
Oh,
whole
for sure.
course on that.
But it all ties into money. It's all about money and awareness and building your strength about money.
They have the state of Massachusetts, and I'm not sure if it's in the other parts of the country, has what they call credit for life fairs that because they want to start, but that's geared to high school students. I think what you were talking about, starting them even younger.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a quiet, subliminal thing that's going on with kids today and money. They think money comes from a little card they just have no idea. Like,
yeah,
okay,
the charge card.
yeah, just go get some more money from that little card thing, and and I think it's important for families to just have healthy conversations about money, and it's okay, what to do with that money, and you need to save some of it, you need to spend some of it, and invest some of it, and it's important to have this narrative.
And how do you see it when the parents themselves are not handling money that well?
Yes.
How would they play a role in this if they weren't teaching or modeling the way for their children?
Well, if they're not handling
one.
their own finances in a healthy way, they're absolutely not going to talk to their kids about money. They're going to project that fear and that stress about money, or we can't afford that, or we can't have that. And then so it's really scary for the kids to even ask about money issues because it's so stressful. But I think slowly, as a family, we can introduce healthy dialogue and conversation, even if it's stemmed from school and the kids are bringing home information about money and ideas, healthy ideas about money, about saving, making money. I think is awesome.
Right. It's in some cases it even makes sense if the families are willing to participate, even bringing parents and younger children together.
Make it about. It's all about cohesive, making it more about family and not creating this divide. You want to bring families in, you want to keep families together, you want to keep them on a team and building money and fun and wealth and planning fun things, planning good things when you do save. So
the fun things.
Yeah.
Because if you see with the first Brighten Up Club, then that was formed with the boys, the right one there.
Oh, yes.
The 2015. What they did to get the other kids interested was plan fun things. They said candy and fun things.
Games.
So, games. That's it, the games. But didn't you go to something once, what was it, either from the federal or the coalition? Because this is big all over the country.
I think we
and
did.
And they did like a game,
Yeah.
like what is, I always go, what is available funds? What is this, what is that? But I can envision from talking to you before, like maybe a 13-week course. And the first one for the parents, and the next one for the family, and the next one for younger kids. I mean, you could really set up a lot of that, and I know that's what you're envisioning, and we're happy to help you.
Thank you.
We have this one was one of our most sought after ones. The things are handouts.
to make a budget.
Make a budget. That's good for you. Get them to make a budget.
And the point of that one is, and this is at the high school level I'm talking about right now, we were part of the development and we participated in the very first financial literacy fair here in Sharon High School.
Wow, that's awesome.
And it was
was
the
what, about
financial
4
reality.
years now?
Right,
4
yes,
years
financial
ago?
reality
Yeah.
fair. And what happened is, you see this make a budget. We didn't use this exact sheet, but the idea was each student came into this fair that day with a budget. And they had already pre-selected the careers they were in. They were sort of fast-forwarding into the future where they had just graduated college and were either in their new first job or looking for the first job. Gave them a salary, and then it had a list of expenses that anyone at that age would typically have: rent, car payments, clothing, all of those things, phones, entertainment. And
It was called a wake up.
yes, it certainly was.
So get a job.
You
What
can't
happened?
have a Porsche on a on a so and so salary.
Right.
Yeah, you have to go back and redo your budget.
And that's exactly what happened, because these kids had to go around from one table to the next. Each table represents a spending area of life. And they had 2 or 3 choices to make at each table. So they could choose to have an inexpensive used car. They could have the Porsche. In the living where they're going to live, it could be having their own house or living in an apartment, and they could live in an apartment with a roommate or not. Clothing.
Oh yeah,
Trade-offs. So making
There's
trade-offs.
lots of trade-offs.
Yes,
and at
that's
the
just
end of the
what it is.
line, they had to come to the table, and we were at that table.
The
one
reality
year.
check,
The
yeah.
reality check, and the idea was they had to
The
take
tissue check.
the amount they had to work
Yeah.
with and the amount they were going to be spending, and if they had a negative balance, they had
had
to
to
go
go
back and redo it. And they
Right.
came out of that. Some kids, remember how surprised some of them were?
Yeah, and some of them, their attitude Out of, you either remember the very best or the very worst. There was one girl with an attitude. She says, well, it doesn't matter, I'm going to be a writer, and this and that. I says, well, if you're going to be a writer, you should start to spell right.
Oh my gosh.
I couldn't help it. I had to point out. It was a regular
She's going to need
word.
an editor.
Yeah, yeah. You have to learn how to spell right. But in the meantime, they have these
It's painful.
attitudes.
This is a painful
Yeah.
process, and it's just how much kids and adults alike need to take a really good look at why it's so painful too. And that's why I'm coming from a point and perspective why it runs so deep, why it is so painful.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good one. They even had a wheel. So, the wheel of life that you don't anticipate. So you spin it off. Oh, your car got damaged. You have to allow for 500. Or you made the lottery. You got another 500. I mean, it was quite interesting, but it still is just an introduction. Probably what you have in mind is more forceful. In other words, if they do it on a regular basis.
This should almost be, if someone could create an app, a virtual app of your life and how you want it to be.
Tony Coyer.
This is who I need, Tony Coyer.
Yeah, I sent you his name in the beginning. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure. Money
Yeah.
Watch. He's been on the show too. He's been doing this for 30 years.
Does he have an app?
Or more.
Like some,
Yeah, he keeps perfecting it.
Yeah, I think that's
more
brilliant.
and more. And we ought to contact him. I'll do a virtual check
Wonderful,
there.
wonderful.
He's in Rhode Island.
I mean, everyone's doing things virtually. So if you can virtually create your life that you want and then
Yeah.
put in some stumbling blocks in there, like your car breaking down, a breakup, a divorce, whatever, a job, you're no longer at your job. Not many people save for those type of events, real life events.
Not only that, didn't they say that 90% of the people, the job you have is not what you started out to? You switch jobs along the way.
You make a pivot, you make a turn, and then, it's what happens.
And no, a lot of things happen that are totally unforeseen. And as you know, I'm in the financial and insurance sector, and lots of people, even the ones who are more savvy, they have great financial plans. But what they might not have is about the what ifs. They say, well, I'm going to retire at this age, and I'm going to be doing this, and I'm going to be traveling, and so forth. But what happens if somebody gets seriously ill, and it's beyond it's past the time that Medicare will pay anything? Well, they have to dish it out of pocket, or they have to have the right kind of insurance, long-term care. Well, some people never plan for those things, and they end up losing everything because they have to be in a nursing or assisted living.
Right.
So those kinds of things, and a lot of that depends on their risk tolerance. There are some people who say, well, I think I can handle it, and others say, I want to be completely protected no matter what. So some of it is individual choices, but at least if they have the foundation, the basics of earning and spending, that's a foundation that everybody should have.
That's a
And they don't do that.
Not necessarily.
No, and this stuff needs to be taught and introduced at the school level, at schools, because parents aren't talking about it. Because it is uncomfortable. And it's uncomfortable when you have lots of money. It's uncomfortable when you don't have enough.
Exactly.
So parents of wealth and affluence don't talk to their kids about money. They're kind of clueless. And same thing on the other end. So somehow we have to bridge that gap.
Right, exactly.
In a healthy way.
And we have lots and lots of connections. We've built a lot of connections over the past 10 to 12 years. And there's no reason to reinvent the wheel, because
we don't have to.
There's a
It
lot of
shouldn't be
resources
that hard.
right there that you can pull from and put it together.
It's about getting in the schools, making the introduction, having the forum, and having this place where people and even the kids can express themselves and talk about things.
We happen to be Massachusetts. We go all over. We're in 24 towns, but there are people in other states that watch us because we upload to YouTube and archive.org where they can see us all over the world. But Massachusetts is the forerunner in things like this. And actually, they're a forerunner in a lot of things, but financial literacy, which is near and dear to our heart, because we're really involved. You know, Massachusetts has a lot of programs, and the banks that are out there, they have, a lot of the banks have to do community service, not just on grants and this, but they have to participate in the community. So there's a lot of banks that
So I'll
do
reach
it.
out to them to get them to do their gigs and relevant to what I want to do. So yeah, it would be wonderful to have the banks come in.
But you
talk to
have
these kids too.
you had you have people in. Are they just in Beverly, Mass? Are they all? I think you had some that were all over. Don't you have a teacher or something? Too?
They're actually, I have a friend who is a sociologist. She has a PhD, and she has a lot to share and offer relevant to the whole psychology behind, the sociology too. So I think, to have the forum of discussion is awesome, and then to also be able to get the children to talk about what their thoughts are about money, and then have a platform for teaching and learning. I think they'll be more open to learning when they're also able to be heard.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Usually people don't listen to the kids. They
Yeah,
think, what do you know?
Yeah, you make it interactive, and you validate them and give them respect instead of talking to them and making it like, just like a course. Like they have to go to school and they're hopping from class to class, and it's kind of boring. But when they have a voice, they're heard and validated.
You know what's good? This particular episode of what we do is you're bringing out financial reality and financial literacy, not just for the high school students, for young kids, for older ones. I mean, for all groups. I notice you have right there the veterans, especially the veterans. They're in wherever they're stationed, and they come out.
We love our veterans.
Yeah, they don't even know what
we need to protect them, and we look after them.
What bread goes for, or what a newspaper. Oh, when did it go for that? And then they find themselves so. Gee, how do I make this work? How do I make the money work?
Well, and everything too is web-based too, and unless they have a phone and access to a computer, they sort of can fall into a pit too. I think these veterans and older people alike, things can get really confusing really fast too. Yeah,
because the ones that know the computer, the ones who grew up with it. I mean, there are so many. Like you said, is there an app for this and an app for that? I had to think twice what an app was.
Right.
I mean, and I'm pretty good on a computer.
Yeah, and that's not the go-to thought. So, but it was sort of forcing everyone into this web-based computer reality. So it's important to be savvy there too, but we also have to keep in mind those that are not and don't go there, and we still have to reach them too.
So do you have any plan started in terms of how you would go about executing this whole thing?
I think my first plan would be to go into the schools, introduce myself, and ask permission to have a forum and raise awareness for these children. And it would be educationally based, and to invite families too. My first thought is with schools and talk to them. But also I would my thoughts are with homeless shelters, to visit the homeless shelters and talk with the families and those that are suffering a life crisis.
See, what you're talking about is a 50-time full-time job, but Tony can help you with the homeless. He has a program that's part of it is actually geared towards single mothers, right?
Yes.
Who are not going to go to college and are not this, and he really makes them aware.
Yeah, they're the ones that really need it. There are families that are suffering that don't have to, and that really need the tools that they've never been taught, and it can be ever changing for them. So I want to create the impact where I can see the most help, and I think it's with children and with families that are in need.
You know, I noticed with my grandchildren, all of them, but some of them look for jobs. They want to babysit, or they want to do this, and others could care less. Because, like you say, the money is just there. Each kid got their own credit card. I mean, it's probably harder today to bring kids up than before, because there were no credit cards when they were growing up.
Right.
My kids, there were no credit cards, and there was no internet, and now every kid got their own cell phones. So there were no cell phones.
Exactly.
Every call was a charge call, so they were limited. So what did they used to do with their time? I don't know.
They used to play outside.
Yeah, you play outside. But I mean, it's interesting. So it's probably harder today, or it could be easier today to communicate with these kids because they can take the course. They take courses online now, and things like that. So it could be easier. But we're so happy that you came on the show. We're happy that you're
Thank
letting
you
us
for
be
having
part
me.
of your venture, and we know we can help you. This is just a sample of the things that we give out.
Thank you.
And it would be nice. We'll have brighten up clubs for little
Yes.
kids, brighten up clubs for
Yeah.
families,
We need
for
it, we need
homeless,
it.
for veterans. I mean, there's so many for people who even people who are financially apt or whatever the word is, when their family breaks up for whatever reason, or there's a tragedy or a change in there, they might say, "Oh, how do I do this now?" You know.
Yeah, because usually a man or a woman was taking care of the finances. So whoever that was, and they go, or they pass away, or they split,
Yeah.
the other is sort of lost. They don't even know where
Yeah.
to start. Absolutely, I see that all the time. I see it all the time.
Any
It's-
type of
it's-
a change.
It's a very vulnerable place to be,
yeah.
but it doesn't mean that they can't learn and get their
No,
bearings.
of course they can learn. We
Absolutely.
have a friend, she was divorced after 20 years, and she didn't even know how to write out a check. A simple thing like writing out a check.
Because she didn't have
You've
to.
got to be kidding.
No,
Sometimes we interjected in the middle of the show. and not
we're
waiting
almost
till
to
the
you got
end.
to be kidding.
Well, I'll tell you something. My father, when my mother was first hospitalized, she had a heart condition,
And
and
you got to be kidding. Dear.
she was only 51 when she had the
wow.
first of several.
Oh,
But
boy.
anyway, I was helping my father because she did everything. She took care of all the bills. So he and I are sitting at the kitchen table because he was the one who had to pay the bills. Back then we didn't pay anything by internet because it didn't really
Yeah,
exist for
yeah, it
average
didn't
people.
exist.
So he's writing out checks and asking me, So he writes out the first check, and I noticed that he signs the check in the lower left corner where you're
With the
supposed to
memo.
put what the memo or what it's
With
for
the-
instead of in the lower right. He had never written a check before.
Oh my goodness.
Nice. He
So
was
that-
smart. He was Italian. He let the wife do it.
That's right.
The Italian and the Jews let the wife do it.
It's a learning curve.
Yeah, I mean, it could go both ways. Typically, it's the wife, but it does sometimes turn
Yeah,
turn out the other way.
I know you're not kidding.
No, I wish I were kidding. Is this?
You're
I
not
wish I
really
were kidding
kidding.
instead of you got to be kidding.
This is our you've got to be kidding bag.
I love that.
Do you have any funny stories first?
Oh my goodness, I have so many stories. I don't even know where to start. But
We were going to say you've got to be
you
kidding.
got to be kidding me.
Well, you can think about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
think about. Feel free to interrupt me at any time
You
because
go
I
ahead.
interrupt you. Here, this is so funny. This is the attorney right in this. How was your first marriage terminated? By death. And whose death was it terminated? And the witness says, "Take a guess."
Oh boy.
They're still around. This is so funny. That is so funny. These are all attorney jokes. I
They
don't know
are,
if I
yeah.
like that.
Aw.
This is funny. Did you ever see Larry David on TV?
Curb Your
He wrote-
Enthusiasm.
he
Yes.
wrote-
Yeah. And he
wrote-
wrote the whole Seinfeld series.
Anyway, he took extra napkins. Some places today, too, they don't even give you a napkin, and if you ask, they give you one, the
One.
takeout ones. So I've noticed that because I need 3 or 4. So Larry David's saying to the guy, well, I'm getting this sandwich, it's messy, I need more than one. Well, I'm not giving you more than one, and don't you dare take more than one. So the guy walks away. So Larry David grabs, it's accentuated. He grabs a whole pile. Police car stops him while he's driving, and he says, "Officer, what did I do? You were accused of taking napkins, stealing napkins, and you have to come with me." Anyway, they put him, he's white, bald,
Oh boy.
in his, 60s, and they got him in a lineup. I mean, like I say, this extreme, so they got him,
Gotta be
that's our
kidding.
audience. They got him in the lineup. So he's white and bald, and then and wears glasses, and then there's another guy in the lineup who's black, bald, and wears glasses. So it's about the same age. So they got him in the lineup, the other lineups, and other people in the lineup, and the police officer is saying to the owner of the sub shop or whatever it is, which can you identify them? He says, I don't know. Well, you must remember something. All I remember that he was bald and wore glasses. So, you know, I mean, it's really the extreme because he should have noticed whether he was one. So they had to let him go. They had to let Larry David go because they couldn't identify him. And that's a good you've got to be kidding.
You got to be kidding.
This is so funny. I don't know. Are we still in You Got to Be Kidding? This is You Got to Be Kidding. Let's take another one. Here's another one. Yeah, your turn.
I can't read without my glasses.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah,
that's small
try
print
mine.
too.
Yeah, isn't it?
Super duper.
Which one is it?
People send these to us. Is your appearance
Oh,
here
yes.
this morning?
Is your appearance here this morning pursuant to a deposition notice which I sent to your attorney? And the witness
is
says,
so
no,
funny.
this is how I dress when I go to work.
Oh boy.
That is funny. Do another one. These are
Attorney,
funny.
you be the attorney and I'll
Oh,
answer.
okay. Do you recall the time that you examined the body?
The autopsy started around 8:30 p.m.
And Mr. Denton was dead at the time?
If not, he was by the time I finished.
Oh my God, this is right. Who sent us that one? All these are sent by different people, and we put them together in a thing there.
Look at this. We got to do this one.
Okay, you
You.
should have got the budget one. Attorney, doctor, before you perform the autopsy.
Autopsy. You want your
Oh, I
glasses?
can't even see. Did you check for a pulse? Oh,
No.
that's okay. I can see.
No,
Did you check for blood pressure?
no,
Did you check for breathing?
no,
So then it is possible that the patient was alive when you began the autopsy. Autopsy. Oh my God, saying words wrong.
no.
How can you be so sure, doctor? Oh, Jesus.
Because his brain was sitting on my desk in a jar.
Oh, isn't that something? I see, but could the patient have still been alive nevertheless?
It turns out to be a lawyer joke. Yes, it's possible that he could have been alive and practicing law.
That is so funny.
You know, I have a marriage
funny.
joke. It's, you know, we're
Okay.
talking about who, who takes care of the bills. Sometimes it's the woman, sometimes it's the man. But in a marriage, who wears the pants in a healthy marriage?
I don't know. Today they both do.
Nobody.
Oh, because. I get it. I don't know if our guests out there get it. I'm getting because
They will.
because
Yeah.
there's two.
There's two.
'cause there can be two wives and two husbands.
Not necessarily. But the people will get the people. It can be mixed. You can take it either way. All kinds of angles.
Oh,
Funny
yeah.
angles.
Oh, that's clever.
I know.
That's clever
Yeah, it
for the
is.
financial literacy. Well, I think that's you've got to be
I
kidding.
think so.
You gotta be
Although
kidding.
today you're not kidding.
No,
No jokes.
No jokes. Okay, so that's a wrap.
Yes, and thank
I'm
you so
still
much.
getting the joke, how to figure it out.
Right.
But that's a wrap.
It is a wrap,
Thank
and we
you.
thank you so much for being here.
Thank
And
you.
again,
Yeah.
we're here to support you.
So
We
you
have
get to
lots
be
of
kidding.
contacts and lots
Yeah.
of resources when you're ready to start, planning at the tactical
Yeah.
level.
And if anybody
We can-
wants
we can
these
share information.
budget
Thank you so
forms,
much.
these
We
always
got the
we
budget
always get
forms, we've
calls
got
for
the
these.
opening a bank account for
Yeah.
children. There's lots and lots of things. So we want to thank our guests for watching, and this is one of many topics on financial literacy. We do, of course, cover other topics that are related to finance and also legally based. And so we always welcome your ideas on shows that we could have in the future. And of course, if you have questions on this particular topic, let us know. Because remember, this is your show, the law, your money, and you.